Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another masterclass. We'll start in a few minutes. Just waiting for for all the people to join in. Just wait for a few minutes. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? Yeah, awesome. We'll just wait for a few people. Okay, awesome. 11, 10, 30. Okay. We're just waiting for a few people to join in and then we'll begin, yeah? Hi Manjunath, how are you? Awesome. So is everyone ready? We're gonna do this episode on IPOs and how to understand and read an IPO document. Okay? Awesome. So let's begin, yeah? So, guys, today we're going to talk about what is an IPO. We're going to talk about the different parameters that are there in an IPO. We're going to see how to read an RHP document. RHP document is also known as a red herring prospectus. So, we're going to read that as well. After that, once we know how to analyze a particular IPO and understand all the different terms and terminologies about an IPO, we will then move on and show you how to actually invest in an IPO and how everything actually looks. Right. So, we're going to do that one by one. Okay. So, I hope you guys are ready. Any questions you want to ask in the middle, I'm watching the comments as well, so any questions you guys have, you can shoot it up to me. I will take up the questions while teaching as well. There's going to be a very interactive session, so we're going to do both together. Awesome. Chalo, theek hai. I'll just share my screen and we'll begin. Yeah, awesome. So guys, today's masterclass, as I mentioned, is all about IPOs. We're going to talk entirely about IPOs and basically how to read them. We are going to see what an IPO is. Now, for all the people who don't know the exact meaning of an IPO, let me explain this very clearly, right? So, an IPO, also known as an initial public offering. Now, initial public offering means first time this company is going from a private company to a public company. So, it's for the first time offering is shares to the public, right? So, that is why it's called an initial public offering. It's basically a process where a privately held company, which is private limited company, offers its shares in order to raise capital. Right now, post the IPO, which is the initial public offering, the company gets listed on the stock exchange and then trades on that particular exchange. So then you see trading happening constantly. Now, just to understand the concept here again, in an IPO, the first thing is the company is issuing shares to the public. After the company issues shares to the public, it is a difference between, after that, the traders will trade between each other, right? It's not about the company anymore. Now, for going and doing an IPO, there are a few rules and regulations and procedures that they have to follow. Each company has to follow this, right? The first thing is they have to go appoint an investment bank or an investment banker for an investment bank, because they will help you do this entire process of IPO. Then you need to prepare something known as DRHP, right? Now, DRHP is basically draft red herring prospectus. DRHP is basically a big document that outlines what this company wants to do. Right, it's a draft, and this draft has to be submitted to SEBI. Now, this draft will contain a lot of information about the IPO. What is the company, who's selling it, what is the price of this, a lot of other things are there, how much they want to raise. Price is not fixed in the DRHP. We'll come to that in the next part, right? Then they give this draft red herring prospectus to SEBI for verification. Once SEBI approves this draft, then the company starts working on IPO pricing. IPO pricing basically equals to how much is the price band of that IPO, how much should they sell with what amount of share, each share is equal to how much rupees. That whole pricing mechanism comes into the picture at that point. Right now, why do companies go public? Right, a lot of people have this question as to, why do they do IPO? Everyone's doing IPO right now, but the main reason for IPO is basically to raise funds, right? One of the reason is to basically raise funds or raise capital from the people and become a public company. The second would be something known as offer for sale or paying off existing shareholders. So there might be some shareholders in the company who's like, okay, you know what, I want to exit, so this IPO will happen and I will sell all my shares and walk away. So they are called offer for sale by payoff of existing shareholders. Also, what happens is there are so many companies that after becoming IPO, they come into the limelight and they get a lot of visibility, right? And everyone's talking about them because maybe their fundamentals are very good. But when it's a private company, you don't know what the fundamentals are. And the fourth thing is increased liquidity. Now, increased liquidity basically means that, if someone wants to buy a particular share of a particular company, because IPO has happened, a lot of people are buying and selling it right now. You would have seen that with Zomato, which is constantly happening as well. Now, this is very important, guys. Please listen to this, because every time you look at an IPO or you analyze an IPO, these are some key terms that you need to look at. Okay. So some of the key terms are basically, the first thing is known as IPO opening and closing date. This is basically very simple as the name suggests. IPO, when is it opening and when is it closing for you to apply for this initial public offering. Then we have something known as price band of an IPO. Now, price band of an IPO is basically the price at which you can buy this IPO at. And it's not only one price, right? Usually, like for example, I think Zomato was 72 to 76 rupees ke beech mein is a price band. So you can buy between that price band. Then you have cutoff price. Now, cutoff price is the final price which is finally cut off and given to the shareholders when the listing happens. Now, if a company is oversubscribed or if an IPO is oversubscribed, usually the upper part of the price band, right, for Zomato to 76, upper part of the price band is taken as the cutoff rate. Then you have listing price. Now, listing price is after the IPO is over, everyone's got allotment, everyone's got their refund, the company goes and starts issuing itself in the stock market. Now, that time the listing price will be the cutoff price. But then on that particular day, it can either go up or it can either go down, right? It's called listing gains, or it might go down as well. Now, that is known as the listing price. Then you have something known as a lot price, lot size. Now, lot size is basically, you have to buy minimum of so much lots, right? So one lot can be 10 shares, one lot can be 15 shares, one lot can be 20 shares. It depends on the IPO itself. So you can buy up to 13 lots in an IPO, 1 3, right? Now, usually when you can apply for it, you can try applying for 13 slot, but if it gets oversubscribed, your chances might slightly go down as well. So usually you get one lot. So we'll come to all of this. I'll show you an example of how to apply for an IPO also. Then the next thing is known as issue size. Now, issue size is nothing but, if the company is coming out with an IPO and raising funds, what is the total amount of issue, that is, what is the total amount of size of this IPO that is coming, that it is taking money from the public. Now, that money from the public is divided into two, right? One is fresh issue. Fresh issue basically talks about the money that goes directly into the company. And then we have offer for sale, which is the money that is going directly to existing shareholders who are taking an exit. So these are the two difference between fresh issue and offer for sale. Now, finally, there's this new thing that everyone's seeing right now is known as gray market price or gray market premium. You guys might be Googling that. Now, gray market price is basically, it is a different market where a lot of buying and selling of a particular share happens in that gray market, where people are trying to buy it at a premium rate from one another, right? And usually gray market premium kind of deciphers what the listing price may be. But again, nothing is confirmed in the stock market. Anything can happen at that point. Yeah. Awesome. Now, let's look at the different types of buyers in an IPO market. Who are the different type of buyers that are there in the IPO market? Now, the first type of buyers are qualified institutional investors. Now, qualified institutional investors are very big investors. They're institutions who are accredited and qualified by SEBI as well. And they're very, very big institutions, right? They can be mutual fund houses, insurance agencies, insurance companies, a lot of big companies, right? Then we have anchor investors, big investors again. Then we have people known as HNIs, which is high net worth individuals, or NIIs, which is non-institutional investors. And then finally, we have retail investors, which are people like me and you who apply to this as well. Now, in this IPO, usually there are some IPOs that have different allotments for each. For example, if I'm issuing 100 shares as a company for an IPO, I might say only 10% is for retail investors. So out of 100, only 10 shares are available for retail investors. 75% of the IPO, I'm keeping it for qualified institutional investors. And only maybe like 10-15% I will keep for HNIs. And some maybe I'll even keep for employee discount, right? So different types of things are there in an IPO. And don't worry, I'll show you an example of an IPO as well. Now, let's look at what to look at. Right, let's look at what to look at in the RHP of a company. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to screen share and show you a red herring prospectus of a company that recently went IPO, which is also known as Zomato. Right, so I'm going to go through Zomato's IPO document and I'm going to show you how this works. Right, awesome. Don't worry, I have everything ready. So if you look at this, this is Zomato's document. Right, I hope you guys can see it. It's kind of, I've zoomed in a lot. This is awesome. Cool. Nice. So this, I'm going to show you Zomato's IPO, right? I'm going to go through this document. I'm going to go through this RHP document, and I'm going to show you where you can find a lot of things with respect to Zomato IPO, right? One by one, we'll go through it. Any questions, please ask me, because I'm going to do this once, but I'm going to do it very properly. Yeah. Cool. Now, sec. Yeah. So first thing, we'll go look at this, right? These are the different people who are running the book. So these are all the investment bankers that they have hired to help them with the IPO, right? So these are also known as book running lead managers, or it's also known as BRLM, right? So they're called BRLM, or book running lead managers, who are the investment bankers who are helping Zomato with doing this IPO, right? So these are so many BRLMs that are currently working. Now let's go down and go to the table of contents. Now this is very important because here we will understand everything about the IPO. And first I want to know, boss, when somebody releases an IPO document like this, first thing I want to know is, boss, what is there in this IPO? Show me, right? What is this IPO? So the first thing you need to go is to this thing called the offer. Can you see this section 3 introduction offer, page 69? So you just click on this offer, you'll directly go down. And this is how the offer looks. Look at this. The offer basically says that 1 rupee ka face value of shares, right? 1 rupee ka face value of shares. They're doing up to 93,750 million rupees ka total issue. This is right. This is the total issue aggregating up to 9,393,750 million, which is also, if you don't want to see this in million, you want to see this in crores to make it simple, you just remove one spot away. So it basically becomes 9,375 crores ka IPO size. This is right. This is issue size as we spoke about in the presentation. Then you have two things I told you. There's fresh issue and there's offer for sale, and there's also this IPO has something known as employee reservation portion as well for its existing employees who want to apply for Zomato IPO. So if you look at fresh issue, it says the fresh issue. Now this issue goes directly into the company's bank account, right? So the fresh issue is basically for 9,000 crores. So out of 9,375 crores, 9,000 crores is the fresh issue, and secondary, which is someone doing offer for sale, right, is 375 crores. So there is some existing investors who's exiting their IPO and taking 375 crores to them, right? That is what this means. Also, apart from that, there is approximately 65 lakh equity shares that are being reserved for any Zomato IPO itself, Zomato employees, right? So this is employee reservation portion. This is specifically for all the employees, right? Now, if you look at this, then finally comes more stuff, which is basically how many shares are going to be issued to the retail portion, how many shares are going to be issued to QIB, how many shares are going to be issued to non-institutional HNIs, right? So the variation is also there later on. Now, if you see this basically, this is also very important. See, this shows equity shares outstanding prior to the offer, right? Before the offer, how many shares are there in the company right now, how many equity shares are there in the company right now. And if you look at this, it is a very big amount, right? It is almost 666 crores equity shares are currently in the market right now. So that is something that you read from the offer document, right? And then you will also see who is that person who is taking 375 crores, right? Remember, we saw this one person is doing offer for sale, selling up to 375 crores. So that information also is given. It basically says Info Edge, right? Info Edge is the parent company of Naukri and a lot of lot of other companies as well, and it's also a listed company. Info Edge is basically selling 375 crores of their shares and taking the money back into their own pocket, right? So that is what it basically means. And that you, all of this information you get in offer document. So this is basically, in very simple terms, the offer. This is the offer of the IPO. That's it, right? Got it? Now, let me go back up. Let me show you the next thing. Now, when you have to analyze an IPO, there are a few things that you need to read in an IPO document. When you need to analyze the IPO, there are a few things that you need to read in an IPO document, and I'll show you what they are, right? First, we saw what the offer was. Great. Awesome. We understood everything. Second, we need to look at something known as risk factors, right? This is section 2, risk factors. I'll tell you why we need to look at risk factors is because if you don't know what the risk is in a particular IPO, the offer document tells you that these are the different types of risks that are there that are associated with my company or our company. So Zomato may, what all risks are there, you will come to know right now. So click on risk factors. It takes you to this document which says section 2, risk factors. Now, if you go down, it talks individually about the risks related to our business and industry, risks related to Zomato's industry. Now, what they say is we have a history of net losses and we anticipate increased expenses in the future, right? What does this sentence mean? That in the past we had so much loss and now we'll have more expense in the future. So there might be a big loss. I mean, there might be a lot of losses still there, right? So this is a risk because if they don't become profitable, obviously your shareholder value will not go up. Then we may not be able to sustain our historical growth rates, and our historical performance may not be indicative of our future growth or future results. It's saying in the past we grew very rapidly, but it does not guarantee that we will move right now as well, right? So that is something that it also said. One second. Awesome. I'm just removing all the clutter. Next, our fundraising requirements and the proposed deployment of, okay, so basically this entire thing talks about how, see, COVID-19 was an issue for them, so all the risk parameters that are there affecting the Zomato is there under this section known as risk factors, right? Now this is something you found out. Chalo, we understood what risk factors are, we understood what the offer document is. Now I want to know, okay boss, all this is fine, but tell me, is your business good or bad, right? I want to know about your business. And is the industry which I'm buying into, is it a growing industry, or already it's become very big and it won't grow anymore? I want to know all of that. So that comes under section 4, which is about the company. And the first thing you need to check is our business. Our business is basically where entire section talks about Zomato as a business, right? It talks about Zomato completely. Now look at this. This basically says entire about Zomato, how many active restaurant listings they have on their platform, how many cities they are present in. 525 cities in India they're present in. They have 32 million monthly average users on their platform. They're also there in 23 countries outside India, so it's not only in India, they're also there outside India as well. Then if you look at key performance indicators, right? So for example, if you look at our business, and I want to know, Zomato, what is your business? So if you want to see what is Zomato's business, they're showing everything over here: the average monthly active users, active food delivery restaurants, gross order value, so much order value has happened overnight, 2019, 2021. How many orders are growing from a year on year growth rate perspective, and this is in millions of orders, right? And look at the total income they're making from all these orders. So this basically shows, this section basically talks about the business of Zomato. And if you keep going down, I'll slowly go down, you will see different things, right? What does Zomato's platform offer, right? They offer, what is that? Food delivery, which we all know. They also have dining out. You remember they had something called as Zomato Pro, right? We saw Zomato Pro coming in the middle. We had Zomato Gold also coming in the middle. So it talks about everything. So if you talk about food delivery, it talks about what they do in respect to food delivery over here, customers, restaurant partners. Then it shows how, look at this, they have nice infographics that explains their business. So basically it says, look at the economic, customer is here, restaurant partner is here, and delivery partner is here. So this is how the entire process happens, right? Cost of food, how much commission they take from each restaurant, how do they do the entire operating metrics of Zomato, is all explained in these documents, right? The dining out specialty, the B2B supplies company called Hyperpure is something that they also have. Then they talk about Zomato Pro, right? Remember they launched Zomato Pro at one point. This is that. Now they've launched something else. I think it's Zomato Plus. So that is something that they do. Impact of COVID-19 on their gross order value, because when COVID happened, in the initial few months, none of us were ordering from outside because it was unsafe. So until everyone got vaccinated, so they were talking about how it grows. Then they talk about the community. So this section, which is basically our business, talks about the entire business of Zomato, right? Whatever you want to know about Zomato, it'll talk about this in this segment, right? Now, apart from our business, I'm going back up to the table of contents. There is something else you want to see as well, which is below our business. It is something called as industry overview, our market opportunity. Now, why is this also important to see? Because every company that comes out of an IPO, you want to see whether this is a saturated industry, or is this industry very big that I can even come now, invest, and it has opportunity to grow, right? So I want to see whether this is a growing industry or not a growing industry. And even if it is a growing industry, how much is it growing by? So that is something I want to see. So I click on industry overview. Again, it takes me to the direct part of our market opportunity. And here it talks about bigger trends, right? Macroeconomic factors of India, digitization trends. Because of digitization in India, everyone's come on their mobile. Now it's so easy to order in India. Look at the GDP growth that is happening in India as well. So if GDP growth is happening, the per capita income goes up. If all of us have extra money to spend, we might order more. So, and they also compare it with different countries like India, US, China, Brazil, Indonesia. And look at this, rising consumption. One of the strength of the Indian economy is rising consumption, means a lot of people are consuming more in India. Number one, large working population, and most of the working population is in the youngster, like most of them are young. The median age is 28 in India, so it's a lot of young people working a lot. And because of that, what do young people do? Usually they're in office, they'll order from outside, Swiggy karte, Zomato karte. So that is something that is there as well, right? And growth in urbanization, where the population is all moving to urban cities and a lot of people are buying and ordering more food. So this is something where you see how much internet users are growing. So market opportunity basically shows you in a very simple, crisp format how you can look at the entire market, right? And how you can see everything growing as well. So if you see this, I'll be like, okay, from this I understand that India has a lot of scope to grow in the future, and once it grows, it will become even better. So Zomato has scope to grow. So this is what that talks about from industry perspective, right? Now, what have we all seen? We have seen the offer document. We understood what Zomato is doing. We have seen risk factors. What are the risks associated with this IPO? We saw what their business is. We saw what the industry is. Now, what do I want to see next? Right? I want to see the financials. I'll be like, okay, all this is fine. Now I want to see how much money are you making, and will you make enough money to sustain yourself as well? Right? So we need to see the money part. The money part comes under section 5, which is known as financial information, and it also is known as financial statements. So if I click on financial statements, you see this, right? It'll automatically go to financial statements. I keep scrolling down until I find the balance sheet and until I find the profit and loss account. Here, bingo, we found it, right? So this is Zomato Limited, okay, Zomato Private Limited, consolidated statements of assets and liability. Assets and liability means this is balance sheet, right? Let me try zooming in a little more, okay? Awesome. We're at balance sheet now. So now, if you want to read the financial statements and figure out, is it a balance sheet? How much do they have a lot of loan? I want to see everything, right? If they have a lot of loan or no loans, etc. So I want to see that. So if you look at this, you'll see all their plant and property equipment, how much crores they have. This is an INR million. So INR million means you have to remove one point here. So this 233 is actually 23 crores. So that is how you check crores to INR million, right? Now you look at investments, you can look at other financial assets. Now, if you want to know more about this, so you'll be like, Shashank, this other financial assets show 3,000 crores, but last year it was only 10 crores. How is it 3,000 crores this time? So if you want to know more about that, there is something called notes at note number 10. So if you keep scrolling down, you will find something that is called notes. And in the note number 10, you will go find out what is this 3,000 crores, because I'll be like, last time it was 12 crores, then 10 crores. Now suddenly 3,000 crores, a bit too much, right? So these type of things you find out in notes. So this is for reference. So you look at the entire balance sheet, you figure out whether they have any liabilities, do they have any borrowings, any loan, any debt. You can look at the investments that they made, around 2,000 crores investment. So this is something you come to know with respect to Zomato and try to understand how this works, right? Now, once you read the balance sheet, you come to the next one, which is the profit and loss statement. Profit and loss statement, again in INR millions. Please understand, you have to read INR millions, because sometimes people do in lakhs, sometimes people do in INR million, and sometimes people do in crores also. So, a lot of things, right? 1 second. Yeah, good. Uh, Cool. Now, if you see this, right, if you see the revenue from operations, revenue from operation basically talks about how are the revenue growing from time to time, right? So if you see this, in 2019, they were at 1,300 crores. Now they were at 2,400 crores in 2,600 crores in March 2020. And in 2021, they were at 1,900 crores, almost 2,000 crores in 2021. Why? Because pandemic also happened. Right now, all this, by the way, for all the people who joined slightly late, I am currently doing the RHP, right? The RHP is Red Herring Prospectus. I'm doing RHP of Zomato India, right? So we're doing Zomato, which recently came out with an IPO. I'm doing the RHP, the analysis for this. Got it? Now, in basically we see revenue of operations, we see different expenses that they have, and I want to see here what is the biggest expense Zomato has, right? Where are they doing so much expenses as well? So that is something you need to see here. So out of 2,118 crores of revenue they're making 2,118 crore revenue. Where are all their expenses, right? So apparently 1,500 crores is in other expense, right? 740 crores is in employee benefit expense, and 200 crores is purchase in stock and trade. So here you understand and try to read how big is this revenue, how big is the expenses, and if they have to become a profitable company in the future, how we have to remove a lot of expenses or how they have to increase their income also a lot. So here you understand the margin game, right? Then you see all that expenses are done, income is done, expenses done. Finally you will see what is the total profit or loss for the year. So in this year they had a loss of 816 crores, right? So 816 crores loss, that means it was a loss making company. They had 816 crore loss, so that means the EPS will also be in loss. Now once you read the profit and loss statement, next you have to look at the cash flow statement. So these are the three financial statements that you have to look at when it comes to an IPO. Now cash flow statement is basically money coming into the company and money going out of the company. That's what it is, right? Now how is the money coming in, where are they using it? You have to deep dive and go into the cash flow statement, try to understand how the cash flow statement works. You see everything that is there in the cash flow statement. We had already done a masterclass on how to read a proper cash flow statement, but this is where you find it in a IPO document. So once you read all of this, that's when you realize, okay, maybe this is a good company or a bad company. And if you want to go even more down and see the notes, different type of companies that they actually have, all this is there. Every information about the IPO is there in this IPO document of Zomato, right? So again, let me summarize what we learned, what we checked, and I will go through it again. If anyone wants some kind of revision, please put in the comments. So first thing we checked was the offer document, like section 3 on introduction offer. We first checked what is the offer of Zomato. Then we checked the risk factors of Zomato. We then went and saw the business of Zomato and the industry overview of Zomato. Then we looked at the financial statements of Zomato. Now, do you guys have any questions first related to this? Any topic you want me to recover again? Because I know a lot of people joined slightly late. I'll quickly show again if you want. Not deep dive, obviously, but I can show you for all the new people. Should I show you guys quickly? Okay. Chalo. Let me quickly show you guys a 2-3 minute revision of what we exactly did for all the people who came late, right? So the first thing that you see, okay, awesome guys. The first thing that you see in the introduction is the offer document. So whenever an IPO comes out, they want to show what they're doing, right? How much are they raising? How much money are they raising? Is it primary or is it secondary? Is it fresh issue or is it offer for sale? So if you click on the offer, it automatically opens this slide where it says the entire offer of Zomato is 9,375 crores. So the entire offer is 9,375 crores. Out of this, fresh issue is 9,000 crores and offer for sale. Offer for sale means some existing investor is exiting. He's doing 375 crores exit. So 9,000 crores goes into the company, 375 crores go into the existing investor's pocket. Apart from that, they have something known as employee reservation portion, which is reserved for employees only. Now, how to find out who is this guy selling shares, offer for sale? There's someone who's selling, right? All this information, if you go scroll down, you will see here that the offer for sale is being done by a company called InfoEdge, and InfoEdge is a stock listed company. It is the parent company of Naukri.com. So InfoEdge is basically selling 375 crores of this in this IPO and taking it back into their bank account. So this is something that we see from an offer document perspective. Quickly, we understand what is the offer. After we see the offer document, next thing what you need to do is go to section 2, which is risk factors. Now, risk factors is basically nothing but what are the different risks that are associated with Zomato. Right now, Zomato says we have a risk because in the history we have only done losses and we think now expenses will become even more. Also, they're saying our past our growth rate was very high, but now it won't be that high, which is a risk to me and you who are investing. It is also saying that because of the COVID-19 pandemic, it became very difficult for us and all the, it became a very risky element because all businesses are under risk because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So this section basically talks about the risk associated with investing in this particular IPO. Once you see the risk, right, you have understood the risk. Next thing you need to go to section 4 about our company, which is known as our business, right? You can see our business here. This is something we need to click on. Now, our business is basically the entire document talking about the business of Zomato. What do they do? What are the key metrics? Everything is written here in our business, right? So if you look at this properly, it talks about everything, their key operating financial metrics, their different platform offerings like Zomato food delivery, dining out, Zomato Pro, Zomato Gold. So it talks about everything. It talks about how Zomato makes money, how they have a restaurant partner, delivery partner, and the customer. So how they make money on all of this. This document, okay, so good question by Vaibhav. Vaibhav says where to get this document. All these documents, okay, which is DRHP and RHP, is available on the SEBI website itself. If you don't know how, I'll also show you where you can get this document. If you don't want to go find it in the SEBI website, I will show you a quick hack to get these documents. Okay, Vaibhav, just stay with me. I'll show you this quick hack also. Now, all this is done. You understand about their business. This is basically our business, talks about Zomato's entire business model. Once you finish our business, what we do next is we go and see industry overview, our market opportunity. Why we want to see industry overview? Because we want to see how big this industry is, right? Whether this industry is a growing industry or a not growing industry. We want to see all this, right? So when you come here, you'll see industry overview about market opportunities, India's macroeconomic factors, digitization trends, and one of the key things that you see here, that they're saying that rising consumption is there because India is a growing economy, so a lot of people are buying stuff. India has a large working population with an average age of 28. That means a lot of young people are, working population in India, and that is how this is also happening. And growth in urbanization. So all these things you understand and read in an RHP document. Clear? So these are the many important things you understand. Now, Vaibhav, coming to your question, how to find this DRHP document or how to find this IPO document, I'll show you the quick hack, right? Now, if you go to the Groww website, see, I'm currently on the Groww website right now. If you go to the Groww website here, that is on the right hand side, you will see something known as IPO, initial public offering. Actually, let me teach you how to apply to an IPO, and let me cover all the topics that we did, like a summary when I'm showing this. Awesome. Now, on the Groww website, if you log in, you will see futures and option, ETF, IPO, and sovereign bond on the right. Click on IPO. Now, IPO basically says there are 2 IPOs right now that are currently open, and there are 12 IPOs that are going to come. Understood? 2 IPOs currently open, 12 IPOs going to come. Now, 12 IPOs going to come. If you want to sit and read the IPO document, look at this. It's directly here. If you click on Chemplast Sanmar IPO document, it should take you directly to the website here, which talks about the IPO document. So this will load. SEBI website sometimes a little slow, but you can see this and see what all is coming, guys. There's GoAir IPO coming. There's Paytm IPO coming. There's Aadhar Housing Finance coming as well. MobiKwik IPO is coming. Nykaa IPO is coming. Aditya Birla AMC, Bajaj, LIC, biggest IPO of India is coming. Policy Bazaar is coming. So all this information you can find on the Groww website itself. Now you'll be like, okay, Shashank, all that is fine. Show me how to invest in a particular IPO right now. So ye dekho. There is something called cartrade.com. You would have seen some ads of cartrade.com. Okay, now I want to go buy IPO. Or this is currently open, so I want to go invest in this Cartrade IPO, right? So I'll click on apply. Now, when I click on apply and I click on Cartrade, this is how it looks. This is how the page looks, right? One sec. This is how the page looks. So the page is basically saying, look at this. These are the opening dates and closing dates, okay, of the IPO, which is 9th August to 11th August is the opening dates and closing dates. The minimum investment for you to do to buy one lot is 14,265 rupees. Minimum investment you have to do. Price range, upper price and lower price, right? So lower price is 1585, upper price is 1618. Right? And then finally, the entire issue size is 3,000 crores, which is 2,999 crores. Now, if you say, Shashank, I want to read it even better, like how you showed it to me, and you want to read the RHP document, you just click on this IPO document tab here. It will automatically open SEBI's Cartrade IPO document here. And once it loads, you can go inside it and start reading the entire document like how we discussed. Then here, it also talks about the company. So if you want a quick research or quick analysis of the company, Groww has put everything on their website, right? So you can quickly go here and see that this company owns Car Wale, Bike Wale, and it is a lot of other things are under this. It has other brands called Cartrade, Cartrade Exchange, Adroit Auto, Auto Biz. Parent company is this, founded in 2000. Managing director is Vinay Vinod Sanghi. Now, also on the Groww website, if you really want to do quick research, it shows you the strengths and weaknesses or strengths and risks of this particular business. So you can read about this, right, which is the leading marketplace for automotive sales, proprietary technology firm. But if you look at some bad parts, which is outbreak of COVID-19, decline in individual car ownership and sudden decline in demand. So if tomorrow people don't want to buy cars, then this will become an issue for them, right? And if you go down, we can also see the financials here quickly. So if you look at the financials here, you see revenue, right? How the revenue is growing from 150 to 67,318. If you look at profit, that it was in 2018 it was a non-profitable company, but now 2019 2020 it's become a profitable company. So all quick research about the IPO can be done here itself. Understood? Right? So beautiful fundamental analysis very quickly. Now there is something called as lots, right? Lot size, basically one lot. If you have to buy one lot comes with 9 shares. If you have to buy one lot of 9 shares, it will be 14,265. Now I'll just log in very quickly and I'll show you how this works, right? One second. If you had to apply for an IPO, because this IPO is currently open, let me show you how you can apply to this IPO as well. One sec. I was logged in. I think it logged out by mistake. Okay, I think I've 1 second. Let me just stop screen sharing and re-screen share. Okay. Okay, worked. Yeah. Chalo. Let me just re-screen share it. See this. Okay, now I've logged in. See how this looks. Now, if I want to buy this, right, 14,265, I want to buy 9 shares, which is one lot. So if I want to buy one lot, which is lot of 9, it is 9 shares. I will directly click on add cutoff price. Why add cutoff price? I'm saying just buy it directly at the cutoff price itself, right, which is the highest price. Now, if you put it at the highest price, your chances will slightly increase. And the price is 1618, which is the highest price here. Now, what will happen is if I say, okay, I want to buy this, the amount, which is 14,562 ka jo amount hai, that will be blocked. Basically, I won't go away from my account. It will be blocked. The amount from your highest bid is kept aside or blocked in your bank account to ensure that if you get allocation tomorrow, there's enough funds for you. So if the shares are allotted to you, this blocked amount will be debited and taken back into the company's account. If you don't get allotment, this money will be back in your bank account itself. It will be unblocked. Now, if you want to buy this, you click on continue. It will basically ask for your UPI ID. You give your UPI ID and pay the amount. That's it. Simple procedure. Got it? So everything is here. So if you look at IPO, you just go to IPOs and see what are the coming IPOs and what are current IPOs. So if you want to invest in Nuvoco Vista's IPO, again, 26 shares is the allotment this time. For the lot size is 26. Minimum investment so much. The bidding dates are this. Issue size is 5,000 crores. Again, if you want to look at the RHP document, it's here. This is the price range. And you want to understand the strengths and weaknesses and revenues of this company, whether it's a profitable company. Yes, it is a profitable company. You want to invest, I'll be like, okay, awesome. I want to invest directly. Put your UPI ID and it is done. Understood? Awesome. So Lava Kumar Ashokan is asking, where can we get this RHP report? It's right here. Look at this. If you go to Groww, I'll show you again. Go to Groww website, go to IPO, right? Click on any IPO you want, right? Any IPO. See, most of the IPO documents are here on the right that are supposed to come. But if you want to look at Car Trade's IPO, click on Car Trade, and the IPO document is right here. If you click on it, it'll automatically open the Car Trade document website for you, right? So here you can go read the entire IPO document. Understood? Hope that answered your question, Lava Kumar. Cool. Great. Now, that was with respect to IPOs, how you can apply for an IPO. Now, let's look at another thing where how to increase your chances of getting an IPO. Now, a lot of you have this question, ki mere ko allotment, I'm not getting allotment at all. How can I increase my chances of getting a lot of allotment? So basically, I know for a fact, so a lot of people in the industry apply for these IPOs with different PAN cards, from their father's PAN card, mother's PAN card, sister's PAN card, everyone's PAN card. They will all apply for this IPO. Then also bid at the maximum price, which is your cutoff price. So always bid at the highest price. Don't bid at the lowest price, because someone who will bid at the highest price will basically win over your bid, right? It's all about bidding. It's like auction. So bid at the highest price, and that is the cutoff price also. That is the price that the stock will list. So Satish is asking, what is cutoff rate? Cutoff rate is basically the highest price, which is the final price where the stock will actually list in the stock market. So if the cutoff price is 76 rupees as of Zomato, then the stock will list at 76 rupees. So Satish, that is what cutoff price is, right? Okay. Is there any perfect chance to get allotment? No, you can just try. It is a lottery system. It is a lucky draw system. It is completely unpredictable. So this is how it is, right? You use different PAN numbers. You should bid at the maximum price. Avoid last moment rush. Be very careful when you fill your details, because if you put wrong details, then you'll have an issue. Buy the shares of the parent company if it's listed. So this is something very smart a lot of people do. where when a subsidiary is getting listed, they go buy shares of the parent company because it's all under it, right? Now, buying many lots will not increase your chances of allotment. So for a lot of people who think if I buy one lot and I'll buy 9 lots, I'll get more allotment, it will not happen. So buying more lots doesn't mean you will get allotment. Your chances doesn't increase, but applying for it from different multiple PAN numbers gives you the allotment. So sadly, that is what is happening right now, right? So a lot of people are applying from different PAN cards and different numbers. Again, now I will take your questions. Got it? Okay, firstly, did you guys learn about how to read an IPO document? Did you guys learn how to apply for an IPO, what to look at in an IPO? Because now so many IPOs are coming. You have to be a smart trader and a smart investor to apply in good IPOs, right? So what I'm going to do now for the next 5-10 minutes, I'm going to take any questions you guys have with respect to IPOs, with respect to how to read an IPO document, with respect to anything around an IPO. You can ask me questions right now and I will answer them. Awesome. But I hope you learned the main objective of this, guys, of this entire masterclass is to teach you, is to basically teach you how to read an IPO document, how to become a smart person and read an IPO document. A lot of people, they don't know how to read an IPO document, so they don't read it. They don't even know where to get an IPO document, like a lot of people said. But everything's so simple. You go to the Groww website, log in, every information is there. So you don't have to think 2 times also. Awesome. Okay, chalo, let's take some questions from the audience, guys. Some good questions on IPOs. Okay. 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 Sam Talks is saying, can you repeat about IPO in a simple way? So, okay, IPO is basically known as an initial public offering. Initial public offering means first time a private company is becoming a public company and it is giving its shares to the people. So, for example, let me give you a simple explanation, right? Assume tomorrow Groww is coming out with an IPO, right? And all of you want to apply for this IPO and apply for shares of Groww. So Groww makes a document called a DRHP document or an RHP document and basically says this is the amount of money that I'm trying to raise. Why am I raising all this money? For so and so reasons, and with this money I'm going to do all this. Who are the people who are buying and selling in this IPO? So everything is there in the DRHP document. Why do people raise money? Basically for 4 reasons. They try to raise money so that they can get more capital, which they can put it back in their business and grow their business. Second, maybe some existing shareholder wants to exit, so that is something that they also do. Third, if you do an IPO, now everyone's talking about your company. When you're a private company, people don't know, but when you do an IPO, a lot of people know about your company, so you get a lot of visibility, a lot of eyeballs looking at you, right? And it also increases your liquidity in the market because you know Zomato, so many people are trading on a day-to-day basis. So hope that answered your question, Sam Talks. Okay, I'm just looking at some questions. Okay, good question by Green Love. So Green Love, it says, what is the minimum investment in an IPO? The minimum investment is whatever the investment amount is there for one lot, right? That is your minimum. You have to put in that amount. So for example, when I showed you on the Groww website, for car trade IPO, the minimum investment was 14,265, which was one lot. So that would be your minimum IPO. Yeah. Minimum investment for the IPO. Yes. Okay, good question. So you cannot, okay, so if you're talking about how can we know the listing price before the listing, so listing price is basically your cutoff price, right? So whenever the IPO is done and it's subscribed and it has to go list, the cutoff price is the listing price. Okay, after it lists on that day, because of demand and supply of the particular stock, it can go up or it can go down. But the listing price will be the same as the cutoff price, which is all, if it is an oversubscribed IPO, the cutoff price is always the highest price. Hope that answered, Deepak, your question. Okay, Harish has a very important, good question that a lot of people have the same question too. If we buy many lots and also we don't get allotted, this is a possibility, Harish. You can buy 13 lots and you might still not get allotted because it is a very lucky draw, lottery kind of a system. So if it is, you don't get allotment, your money that is blocked in your bank account will be coming back to you in your bank account. So don't worry about that. But again, there is no guarantee that if you buy 13 lots, you will get allotment. There is no guarantee that way. Yeah. Okay. Okay, very interesting question. How do you know the premium for the stock during the IPO? So, in reality, there is no way to know the exact premium of a stock during IPO because it all depends on demand and supply factors. But there is something known as gray market premium, which is not the real premium, but it is known as gray market premium, where a lot of people are buying and selling shares in the gray market through small brokers, okay, at a premium rate. So if the listing price is 76 and I didn't get allotment, they go to gray market and try to buy it at 90 rupees, 95 rupees in their demat accounts. So some people try to find out what is the gray market premium because they assume that if the gray market premium is 30%, then there's high chances that the stock will open at 30%. Again, nothing is confirmed. Huh? It is all speculation. Nothing is confirmed. Hmm. Just looking at any questions with respect to IPO and we will take them. Okay, good question by Akriti. Akriti asked how to choose an IPO and which one to invest as many IPOs are coming in the last few months. Correct, Akriti. So I'll tell you what, the way you should choose your IPO is right. You have they should choose an IPO is basically you need to invest in an IPO that is fundamentally strong. So you have to do all your research when you're investing in an IPO. So remember, we just showed you how to read an IPO document, how to read an RHP document. You have to go through the risk, you have to go through the offer document, you have to go through the business, you have to go through everything. With respect to this, right? You need to find out whether this IPO is good or bad from the IPO document. Second. Yeah, you have to find out what is this from the IPO document. Once you read the IPO document properly and then you figure out this is a good IPO or a bad IPO, only then you invest. So ideally, if it's a profitable company, it is good because it is making profit, right? So that is something that is considered good. Hope that answered your question, Akriti. Okay. Okay, someone asked a question, what is GMP or what is gray market, right? So gray market is basically the gray market is where a lot of unlisted shares are traded. So for example, before the listing, there are so many people that have Zomato. Some employees might have Zomato through ESOP. So usually what happens is in the gray market, a lot of brokers try to buy these shares from someone and then sell it to a lot of people when there's a lot of demand. And they sell it at a premium, right? So this is not the actual market, this is not the stock market, this is a gray market where normal brokers are dealing with each other, and it's a very tight knit society, right? It's not very easy to find a broker who will get you say gray market stocks. So a lot of people look at the premium that is happening in the gray market to figure this out. So that is what gray market is. Naveen Kumar is asking a very good question, what is PE ratio? So PE ratio is also known as price to earnings ratio. Okay, now to make it more simple, let me show you something, right? Let me actually open something and show you about PE ratio. Good question, by the way. So if you want to learn, guys, about any ratio, or if you want to learn any kind of information, it is massively filled on the Groww website. So let me show you something, right? So if you go to the Groww website and you click on, if you go to the Groww website and you see the resources section, you will see that there is a beautiful section where it talks about all the information about, say, PE ratio, price to earnings ratio. What is PE ratio? So price to earning ratio is basically the current price of the company's share, right, in relation to its EPS, which is earnings per share, right? So price to earnings ratio formula is basically current market price of the share divided by earnings per share. So it basically says that if the earnings per share is, say, 10 rupees, at what premium is the stock price selling right now? Okay, so it is dividing that and saying if the stock price is at 100 and my earnings per share is 10 rupees, that means the P ratio is 10 times. So my stock is currently trading at 10 times more than its earnings. Okay, so that is what it basically says. Yeah, hope that answered your question, Naveen. Good question, by the way. Next. All lot, by the way, not only P ratio, there are so many different ratios. If you want information, it's all available on the Groww website, so you can go there and check it out. Yeah. Next. Just seeing if there is any other good question people are asking. Okay, there is one good question here. Um, see this, where did it go? Yeah, look at this. Dhananjay has asked a very good question. Basically saying, can you explain who is an anchor investor? So anchor investors are basically okay, this anchor investor concept was launched by SEBI in 2009. So anchor investors are basically institutional investors. These are big investors who are invited to subscribe in the shares before the IPO itself. Right. So before the IPO comes in, anchor investors are called in and said, do you want to invest? This is the price band and you have to invest in one of these price bands. So they fix a number and they invest here. So again, anchor investor is not allowed to sell his share for at least 30 days after the allotment. So right after the allotment, 30 days he can't sell his share. So a lot of big people, right, anchor investors are basically big institutional investors that come and invest in the IPO. So that is what anchor investor is. So good question, Dhananjay. And by the way, anchor investors are also those big investors who have to invest a minimum of 10 crores, right? So minimum of 10 crores have to be invested by an anchor investor. And sometimes what happens is if you look at an IPO, retail investors like people like me and you only have 10% allocation. HNIs might have 15% allocation, but anchor investors and institutional investors usually have 70-80% 70-75% allocation, right? So that is something that is interesting to look at. Chalo, let's take one last very nice question and we'll call it. Hmm? Okay. Just checking the questions. Nice questions by a lot of people, guys. Again, I want to ask you guys. You hope you learned a lot from this, right? Hope you learned a lot from this IPO document. How to read an IPO document. Now you guys are smart investors that can understand how to invest in an IPO as well, right? So this is something that is very important, and you guys are taking the time off on a Sunday and reading. So you're already winning over all the other people. Yeah. 1 second. Okay, let's take this question by Badesh Chauhan. How to predict the future of a company by IPO document? So, Badesh, nobody can predict the future of what is going to happen in the stock market. Number one, right? But what you can do is you have to read the IPO document. Remember, I showed you how to read an IPO document. When you read an IPO document, you will see the risk associated with it, which will help you determine the future of that particular stock. After that, there is a section called what is that? There is a section called our business and industry overview, right? So you look at our business and you look at industry overview and try to see whether this industry is a growing industry or not a growing industry. If it is a growing industry, then maybe this can do well, right, depending on how the stock works. But again, you cannot predict the future of a stock market, sadly, or you can't predict the future of an IPO, but you can make a better understanding of whether this is a good stock or a bad stock. That's it, right? Awesome. Guys, firstly, did you guys learn today? Right, the main objective of this is not to see whether which IPO is coming out with listing gains. The main objective here from Groww is and our team is to basically teach you on how to become a very smart and knowledgeable investor. Right, that is why we do master classes, so that you can be smart when you try reading an IPO document. Now all of you know how to read an IPO document. You know the different terms in an IPO document, and now you have become an educated and a smart investor, and not just investing like other people who have no knowledge, right? So for all the people who've got that knowledge today, if you've got it, just put a thumbs up in the chat. I'll be really happy. And for all the people who have not read about this, I would tell you, and please tell your friends and family, if they want to come and read about this masterclass, if they want to come and attend such masterclasses. We are constantly teaching you guys every week here about different concepts of how to read a stock, how to read an IPO document. So for all the friends that you guys have who are sleeping right now, please wake them up and tell them, boss, next Sunday you sit with me for a masterclass. Tell your family members who want to learn about an IPO. Tell them to subscribe to the channel, by the way, because there is immense amount of knowledge that is being given on the Groww YouTube channel, right? In Hindi, different languages as well. So there's no excuse for you not to learn. So subscribe to the channel, and you will get mad amount of information, amazing information, and there's a lot of effort going into this information, and all we ask from you is to just click on that subscribe button, right? So again, I'm glad you guys sat with me for 1 hour. It's been 1 hour. I don't know how many of you all realize that, but we learned a lot today about IPOs. And keep learning. I would enjoy that if you keep educating yourself. This is me, Shashank Udupa, signing off from the Groww team. Love you guys. See you soon again. Yeah. Bye.